Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. You are highly welcome. Thank you so much for everything you do. My name is Okunola Hannah and I am the creative director of Annual Fashion and More. I really wanted to take my time to appreciate you all for your genuine support, for your love, for believing in me. I really want to say thank you for that. I'm very grateful. It really means a lot to me. Something has been brought to my notice. I see a lot of people struggle with drafting a basic bodice pattern using the bust dart method. And the beautiful thing about this method is that it has a way of changing your pattern drafting from 0 to 10. It has a way of enhancing your bodies. From my personal research, a lot of people find it hard to transfer their pattern to their fabric. So I'll be teaching you everything in this video. And that's why I decided to make this video, to do a lot of breakdown about the basic bodies pattern using the bust dart method. As a lot of people believe it to be, it is not something that is hard. And I'll try my possible best to break down this video for everyone. So please, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I make videos. I always try my possible best to make sure that my videos are intensive, they are educative, and I don't gatekeep. I share every of my experience. I also share tips on how your sewing can be fun and enjoyable. So without further ado, see you in class and let's get started. So here is my pattern paper and we are going to be drafting the front pattern first. I have marked my starting line and we are going to be imputing our body measurement. And I will be starting with the vertical measurement, which is the bust point, the under bust point and the waistline. I have a video on how to take proper body measurements in case if these names are strange to you. So please click and watch the video. So after I've marked those points, I am going to rule them out like the way I'm doing here in the video. When you rule it out, it will make the line obvious and clearer. That's the reason why we do that here. The waistline is also called half length in case of any language you are or term you are used to. So now I'm going to divide my shoulder into 2 and I will impute half of it like so. And from that point, I'll come down with 1 inch. Reason being that our shoulder is not straight, our shoulder is slant. So now I will slope it into the shoulder line. Let it go as far as this. So after that, I'll be imputing my neckline. So you can make use of a neckline of 3 by 3 inches, 3.5 by 3.5 or 4 inches. Or you should impute the neckline you wish to use. Maybe it is a kind of trendy neckline or a neckline with design. You will impute it. So here I made use of 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So you can make use of your curve ruler like so, or you should follow this process. That's if you have it in mind to make a round neckline. If you want a perfect round neckline, you will re-impute the width and the length and you try to connect them together. So this is me trying to create a box first. After I've created the box, from this edge I'll come out by 1 inch, and using my curve ruler I'll try to connect those points together. So this way to give you a perfect round neckline. So it is either you place your curve ruler directly to make the neckline or you follow this process. Now the next thing for us to do is to calculate our armhole length, which is your round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So please study that formula and whatever you get, you will input it from your shoulder slope, whether your shoulder slope stops at. And to get a perfect line, you will measure your shoulder measurement and re-input it on that point that you marked your armhole length, and then you are going to rule it. The reason why we do this is because sometimes the length tend to shift. So here is an armhole length, and the next thing for us to do is to get our armhole curve. And to do that, you divide your armhole length into 2. And from that point, you come in by ½ inch. So when you do this, you use your ruler to connect it from that ½ inch up into your shoulder slope. Then to get the other curvy part, you are going to divide your bust into 4. Then from the center front, you are going to impute it like so. and connect it into where your armhole length stops at. So this way to help you to get a perfect curve. Then using your curve ruler, you connect it like so. So if you have any question, please ask me in the comment section. I will answer you. Also, another tip you need to know is that this point where your armhole length stops at is also called your chest line. So for those who are always wondering where the chest line is, it is at this point. And now the next thing for us to do is to input our dart. And to get that, you are going to divide your bust span or your nipple to nipple measurement into 2. Then input it at your bust point, under bust point and waistline. Then rule a straight line like so. The next thing is to come down by 1 inch from your bust point like so, because your dart is not meant to get into your bust point. Then for the dart intake, you can make use of 1 inch, 2 inches or 1.5 inches. But whatever the inches you are making use of, divide it into 2, because you are going to be shearing it on both sides of the dart. So you shear it like so. I made use of 1 inch and I sheared the 0.5 inches on both sides of the dart line like so. And you connect it to the point that you came down by 1 inch from your bust point. So now after that, we are going to be inputting our round body measurement. That is your bust divided by 4 and also your waist divided by 4. And after you've marked it, whatever the dart intake you took, you will return it to that side to avoid shortage. Then using your ruler, you are going to connect it like so. So now the next thing for us to do is to input our bust dart. So one of the major things you need to know about bust dart is that it is taken between the bust point to the under bust point. And to get your bust dart, you will subtract your back half length from your front half length. Whatever you get will be your bust dart. So when you take a proper body measurement, whatever you get, you'll be able to know. So what I got with this person's measurement is 1.5 inches. Some can be 1, some can be 2 inches. Then you will rule it into your bust point and you will connect it like so. So here is the bust dart. So one thing I want us to understand is that you have to close the bust dart. So it's either you close the bust dart and you transfer it to the waist dart, which is what I want to do now. Like I am going to try to slash my waist dart open and the bust dart open. Please try not to cut it off. Just watch what I'm doing in the video, like so. So the moment I close the bust dart, like you can see, the waist dart got wider. So the bust dart effect has automatically been transferred to the waist dart. Also, you can choose to close your waist dart, maybe for some people that doesn't like their waist dart showing, and naturally the bust dart has become wider. But this method will work for only basic kind of clothes. This method cannot work for bustier. In bustiers, you have to close your bust dart. Most of those bust dart have automatically been transferred to the waist dart. So I hope you understand what I am explaining here. Please try to practice this on a pattern and a fabric before you try to put it on your main clothes. I'm going to be sealing my bust dart because I have it in mind to make use of the bust dart. So naturally my waist dart has been expanded and I will show you how to transfer it later. So now after this, let us move to the back pattern. So here is my pattern paper for the back pattern, and I've ruled the starting line on the upper area. But for the center back, instead of me ruling a starting line, I'll be ruling my zipper line. I mostly make use of 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance with lining, but without lining I mostly use 1 inch. Then after I've ruled it, I am going to be dividing my shoulder measurement into 2 and I will input what I got. From that point, I'll come down by 1 inch as my shoulder slope, like the way I did in the front. Then I'll rule it into the neck area. So whatever the armhole length I got while drafting my front pattern, I'm going to input it at the back. They have to be the same so that it can align. Then I'll re-input my shoulder measurement divided by 2 so that my armhole length can be straight and perfect. Then I'll connect everything into the shoulder slope like so. Now I'll divide my bust into 4, and from the center back, that my zipper line, I will input it like so, and using my ruler I'll connect it into my armhole length. This will guide me to get a perfect armhole curve. From that corner, I'll come out by 1 inch, and using that point as a guide, I'm going to be creating my back armhole curve. The front armhole curve is different from the back armhole curve. Next thing to do now is to impute my neckline. So your neckline can vary. What I'm just making use of in this video is a basic neckline. Your neckline does not have to be the same thing with what I'm using, though I made use of 2 inches and 3.5 inches for my neckline here. So also I'm going to be connecting my chest line like the way I did in the front, because I'm going to be in need of the chest line. And now the next thing for me to do is to impute my half length. So like I said, your front waistline is different from your back waistline. My front waistline was 17 inches while the back is 15.5 inches. They are going to align, so do not be bothered, because I'm going to be showing you the end result. So now I'm going to rule it out like so, as you can see, so that it can be obvious, and I will label it my waistline or half length. So now to calculate our zipper bulge, we have different formulas for it, but I'll be making use of the 1 inch formula. Please study that formula I posted. You'll be able to understand it. So now this will help me to eliminate any bulge on my zipper area, because our back is not straight. So like so, I am going to connect it upward to how far my ruler can go. And now I'm going to be recreating a new zipper allowance, which means that the zipper allowance can't be used anymore. So whatever the inches you use for your zipper, you will return it back now. So I made use of 1.5 inches earlier, and now I'm going to be returning that 1.5 inches, and automatically this is my new zipper allowance, as you can see. The next thing for me to do is to impute my back dart, and I will be dividing my nipple to nipple measurement, and I will add half inch to whatever I got. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 3.5 inches, but I added half inch, which gave me 4 inches. This way, by the time I sew my dart, it will be exactly the 3.5 inches I needed. And to get a straight dart, you are going to measure everything you add from this your former zipper line. You use it as a guide to impute the dart on the chest line. We mostly impute that on the chest line because it will help you to snatch every bulge on the back area. So I'll connect it like so, as you can see. And for the dart intake, I'll be making use of 1 inch, and I will shear it into 0.5 inch on both sides of the dart length, and I'll connect it straight into the chest line like so. So now we are going to be imputing our round body measurement from our new zipper line. So I will divide my round bust into 4, and from this new zipper line, I am going to use it as a guide to impute my round bust measurement and connect it into the armhole. And also from this new zipper line, I will divide my waist into 4 and also return the dart intake I took to avoid shortage, and I will connect everything like so. So here is a bonus that I would love to share, but it's not compulsory for you to make use of it if you are not sure enough. So another way to eliminate zipper bulge, and as an additional way to eliminate zipper bulge, is from this zipper area, you either come up by 1 inch or 0.5 inch. The highest that should be done is 1 inch. This helps for people who are plus size, or if you are attaching your half length to a peplum or something, it will help you to be relaxed on that area. I've tried it and it works well for me. I mostly make use of 1 inch, but if you are not sure enough of this idea, just follow the one I explained, as in the normal zipper bulge I explained. It also still works well. So here it is, and you can see after I finish cutting it, you can see the way the side aligned with the front side. So that's what I was trying to explain to you. Now I will be explaining to you how to transfer your pattern to fabric. So here I'm going to make use of a lining, and it is on fold. And here is my front pattern, and I'm trying to pin everything to the lining. As you can see that I left some space on the upper area, and I pinned the center front to the folded part of the lining. So now you can see that I was marking a chalk. What I'm marking here is 0.5 inches. I'm sorry, I couldn't have that patience anymore because it was getting late already. So that's why I was making use of my hand. So whatever the allowance you make use of on your side, I mostly make use of 2 inches or 2.5 inches when I'm turning a lining to a cloth. But aside from that side front. Every other allowance I added was half inch because it's just the inch you need in using to turn the lining with the fabric. So I'll try to connect the point, and I'll keep marking the 0.5 inch because that's what we're going to be using as our sewing allowance. So this point, you have to mark it, that point that the waist dart leg starts from. Please just extend this chalk outside like so, because at times when the waist dart shifts, it is always looking like it's not smooth enough. So I tend to do this. I'm going to still retrim it and I'll show you what I do. So after you've marked your 0.5 inch round like this, you cut. So your waist dart leg, like the waist dart, there's this dart line that we marked when we're drafting. That's the point you should notch. Then fold your dart like so and retrim it, and it will give it a perfect blend. So that waist dart is the real dart. If you mark this part that looks open, you've not taken any dart. So it's that waist dart that you are going to notch. Also, for those who are always concerned about how to sew their dart at the machine, what I tend to do is that I dip a pin, like a pin from the point where my pattern is to the other side. Then using my ruler, I connect it to the notch that I have notched earlier. That's the importance of you notching that dart. So that from that point where my boss point is, I place my pin there and I connect it. That's for the other side. But for this side, I'll try to open the pattern to an extent. Then I would have used a chalk to mark that place that I pinned, or that place that the dart opened to. Then using my chalk, I'll try to connect it like so. So all I just need to do is to take my fabric to the machine and sew. And also, if you want to transfer your lining to the fabric, all you need to do is to place your lining on the fabric and trace it out, then notch every necessary point I have explained to you. Now let us explain another means in which you can sew your darts for those who do not know how to sew darts. So some people always complain that this kind of dart is always too wide. So you can also just try to mark out half-inch sewing allowance to any point you feel it can get to, because the triangle will keep getting more tiny. Then you you cut it out like so. So all you need to do is to sew on that line, and you won't have too much bulge on that area. So for the back pattern, all you need to do is to place your fabric on fold, then mark your half-inch sewing allowance round. Aside from that zipper allowance, it is an allowance already. You don't need to add any allowance again to the zipper allowance. If you are making use of 1 inch, you don't need to add anything again. Anything you've added, that's all. You don't need to add any allowance anymore. So the only thing I do is to just mark my half-inch round. Then the point where my zipper line starts from, I am going to mark it because we have to notch it. That will be what will guide us to know where our zip is. Then for the side of the back pattern, you will mark your patterns. You will mark it. I marked 2 inches. I mostly make use of 2 inches. Then you also mark your 0.5 inch round, like the way I'm doing, and you connect it to that point where your zipper is. Then also, after you've done that, you are going to mark your dart leg, because we need to notch those dart points just like the way we did for the front. It's almost the same thing with the dart of the back. So now you are going to trim off every of the marked lines, but please cross check your work before cutting everything. Then after that, you are going to notch the point where your zipper allowance starts from, so it will serve as a guide for you when you are sewing your clothes. Then also notch the point whereby your dart leg is. Then to be able to mark your dart using the pin, I told you that you just you use your pin to pierce the point whereby the dart ends at, and that way you just use it to rule a line into your dart leg, just like the way we did for the front. You are also going to do the same thing also for the back. Like once you pierce in that pin, it can be easily traceable from the right side where there is paper to the wrong side that there is no paper. Then also you also repeat the same thing using your pin as a guide. You will try to use it to connect into your dart leg. So here is going to be the end of my video. I feel with these ideas that I've shared, you should be able to make draft and sew a cloth easily. Thank you so much for watching my video, and see you in my next one. Bye.